Yay, we are live! Hi, guys.
Hi,
Welcome to
everyone.
the third and final live show for Wonderlong.
Oh,
For now, but later into the live show, we will tell you more about that. But welcome, everyone. My name is Sabine from Sabine's Book Nook, and I am here together with some lovely people. Of course, we have my co-host, amazing co-host, Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe. I want to give her a big shout out because even though it's hosted on my channel, she has written down basically all of the questions for today, and she's just like a mastermind. So big props, big credits to Olivia. Um, let's just Olivia, you go, and then Gavin and Jade. Shall we do it like that?
sure.
Well, yeah. I'm Olivia Savannah
Olivia.
from Olivia Catastrophe, and it's nice to see you all.
I'm Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, and also really nice to be here. Thanks for asking me to be part of this, Sabine and Olivia.
Of course.
I'm Jade of JadedReader, and I'm also really excited to be here and very, very grateful. I love this series.
Yes. So, I mean, as you all know, we're going to discuss Hollowpox, the third book in the Nevermore series. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm just going to say we are going to start off with like our general rating and general thoughts with no spoilers. So let me create. Oh, I already have a banner set. Whoa, that's big. Isn't it big?
I don't know if you can make it smaller.
Oh, wait. Okay, no, this is hide. It's going to be big. It's going to be prominent so that you clearly know this will be the non-spoilery little section. I see so many people joining us. Hi. Ooh, hello from France. Hello. So yeah, let's give our rating and our general thoughts on the third book in the series. And afterwards, we'll get more into details and spoilers, but you will know when that happens. So I shall start with my rating. I think I gave Hollowpox, or would give Hollowpox, a 4 out of 5 stars. And if I would have to maybe like rank it in the first 3 books, it would be my, I was gonna say maybe my number 2 or 3, but I'm not too sure. And definitely not my number 1, but it was, in my opinion, I enjoyed it a lot, but it wasn't as happy-go-lucky maybe as book 2 and 1. So that made me it was maybe too realistic. Too a little bit like confronting. But no, it was a good book in my opinion. So I'd give it a 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I'll just go next. We can just go that order again.
Yes.
So I would give it a 4 stars, but it's a very low 4 stars. I was debating between 4 and 3, and maybe at the end of this discussion it'll switch. I'm not sure.
Gavin!
Don't mind me. I'm just sitting here. Don't mind me.
That face!
But yeah, I guess I'll probably be the one who's adding some negativities to the discussion. I did enjoy it though. I enjoyed it more than the first one. I think it's second place for me.
We need a Morrigan in every group, so we need a little bit of pessimism.
Yeah, just to keep us grounded. Yeah, exactly.
Main character energy, really.
I love that. Well, I mean, I gave it 5 stars, but I've given all of them 5 stars so far. Out of all of them, it probably is my third favorite. I don't want to say least favorite. I know it's third, but saying one of these books is my least favorite, it kills me inside. So I'm saying it's probably my third favorite so far. So I definitely agreed with Sabina. It did probably feel a little bit realistic, and what I love about the first 2 is that whimsy and charm and the magic, which is still carried over into this one, probably just not as prominently as the first 2. So I know that's like a thing because obviously the series is like growing up, but I'm just like, I just want to hold on to a little bit of that whimsy and charm from the first 1 and 2. So yeah, but it's still fantastic. I still gave it 5 stars. So yeah.
Nice.
I also gave it 5 stars. And I honestly, I struggle with even having it in the third place slot. I'm very much so the same, where I kind of look at the series as a whole. I look at like the story as a whole, and it's really hard for me to like parcel out. And because they layer on each other, it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, this is the third favorite. especially since the more Jupiter North I get, just the better my enjoyment of the books are, and any extra scenes I get, I'm like, oh well, now this one's my favorite because Jupiter North doesn't sit on his hands in the first one. So it's like, yeah, my bias there really switches it up as far as like what I can do. I also kind of, when I read this, I read it at the beginning of 2020, like when it first came out is when I read it. And we were just getting into being stuck at home and the reactions of people. And so I didn't see it as realistic when I was reading it. I saw it as like, huh, that's kind of weird. Lots of, thank you, Lexi. Yeah, I saw it as kind of like one of those things where I was like, huh, there's a lot of parallels here. And it was relatable, but not as realistic as I realized at that moment. The reread was pretty realistic, though. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I think maybe for, like, I know that at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people were reading pandemic books, but I was one of those people who was like, no pandemic books, please. Like, I'm living in one right now. So maybe I don't really think that like lessened my enjoyment of the book, but it's not as if I was like very eager for that to be like a huge part of the plot, to be like, oh my God, yes, cannot wait to read about a virus going around, you know? But I think overall, the execution of it was really well, because indeed, like you said, Jade, if you look at how everything's going right now in the world and everything, you see a lot of parallel reactions, which is very interesting, though, to see. So Olivia prepared some wonderful questions for us here for the live show today. I think we will all go into spoilers right now, just to be able to like freely discuss everything that has been going on. And if you haven't read it yet and you were here just for our non-spoilery opinion, I think the big thing we can all agree on is just read the damn book.
Yes, Lexi, read the book.
Lexi hasn't read it, right?
Lexi.
Not yet.
Shame on her.
Called you out, I'm sorry.
Okay, so right now we will switch the banner, the big one. Banner. Let me switch to I'm sorry, called out.
Sorry.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we have some fun questions and discussion questions, like Olivia wrote it down in the Google Docs. The first one that I have here: would you rather join the found family from the hotel or Hawthorne's family?
Oh.
We're going in the same order, right? I get to go last.
Yes, let's do that. So difficult. Do you want to go first, Gavin?
Oh gosh. Oh well, actually, okay. Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
I would probably say the found family of the hotel, I guess, because it was a really hard one because baby Dave. Just want to carry baby Dave everywhere and just look after baby Dave. But maybe the hotel, found family in the hotel, they're just so close, and it's just being in that environment as well. You know, the hotel is just, it's so wonderful and magical, and it's just the place where like so much imagination thrives. And just that's such a hard one though, because now I'm thinking about Hawthorne's family and just like how much they care for one another, but also so does Morrigan's found family as well. But I'm still going to stick with hotel. Family, and I guess like lots of other people are as well. So
I would agree too.
Good. Yeah.
How about you, girls?
I'm going to go with Hawthorne's family.
Oh,
I really like the hotel, and I'd want to go for the hotel. I'm going to make Jade really upset here.
I know.
But I don't think I could cope with Jupiter's absence and coming and going. I would just get so frustrated. So I have to choose like Hawthorne's family. And I really like Homer and Baby Dave. So
Baby Dave.
I think
Oh,
I'd be
Baby
there.
Dave.
And my parents are embarrassing as well, so I would be able to
You could relate.
fit right in.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that for Olivia, it's been like a bit of a struggle, or like a falling, how do you call it? Just a thing for the series. And I I can definitely understand that Jupiter just constantly like going and coming back and yeah. Now that Olivia has pointed that out, I've been watching it more and I've been like, oh yeah, that is really quite annoying. But when he is there, when Jupiter is there, I'm like, oh, he's amazing.
Yeah,
Please
he can be
stay.
really
And then-
sweet.
Yeah. And you, Jade?
Yeah, I'm definitely choosing the hotel. I'm like mentally married to Jupiter North, so it would be weird to not live there. I also really relate to Jupiter in his constant leaving. Olivia, I don't even know how.
I'm not mad at you for constantly going.
I was like, I know I haven't answered your boxers, and it's been a month. But I just relate to that entire household so much. And I love that in the found family in the hotel, you're also taking on the Deucalion itself, because like that is part of her found family. When she feels like she needs to go somewhere, she doesn't automatically go to Fenestra or even sometimes to Jupiter. Like it's like she goes to her room, and the hotel is also her room. And when we're in spoilers, so I can like talk about other.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she's like making the decision to jump off the roof and go with Squall, she wasn't going to go until the hotel like gives her a ladder, and she's like, oh well, I trust the hotel. If the hotel is telling me I can go, then I'm safe enough to do this. And like there is a connection between her and her bedroom that I really like, and I think has a lot of symbolism, but it's also part of that found family, and I can't pass that up. Like if even when Jupiter's gone, I'm happy and perfectly fine because it's such a safe place.
Yeah, it truly feels like home, even though it was not her initial family. It feels like her family.
I love the point about the hotel though being like Kia said as well, like sentient, because even like I love her bedroom and things, but even when like Morrigan makes a comment that the hotel doesn't like, and then it can make her bedroom like a really hostile environment kind of thing. It's like such a funny kind of banter between Morrigan and the hotel. It does feel like that, like the sentient mother figure, and giving her that ladder was very symbolic of like, this is me giving you not exactly permission, but like I'm behind you, like I'm rooting for you kind of thing. Like this is what you have to do, so I'm here to back you, even though it was a huge decision to make, and like it's not the easiest decision for her to make. The hotel backed her in that, and that's just like the hotel is like such an underrated character at this point. So I definitely agree.
It's so amazing. And I believe like somewhere around the middle in the book, when like the hotel is closed, the hotel is protesting against it, and kind of like, I believe Morgan had to sleep on a table once.
Something like that.
Yeah. Like, wow, that's giving a big middle finger to Morgan, having to sleep on a table.
But it's funny.
It is funny. It is funny. And what was it with the spiders? There were spiders as well. And then she was like, oh, wow.
Every family has, like, I was just the worst on April 1st for my family. Terrible things happened to my family. They were lucky they didn't, that they could have slept on tables. Like, sometimes, sometimes families make you sleep on tables and the room doors.
So, Olivia, unfortunately, you are the only one in the four of us. Yeah.
But that's
I
great.
was told.
I can visit you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And I can come to visit you guys.
Yeah, and it's such an open family. The Hawthorne family is such an open, welcoming family that I can just leave my family for the day and go visit yours.
The hotel is like a sulking teenager.
It could be the mother and the teenager kind of thing. It's like, yeah.
And then this too. The vampire dwarf is throwing a party. Let's see. If you had to choose one character to protect you in a fight, who would you choose? Well, if I'd be smart, I'd say Squall, probably. Because at the end of the book, you can see how powerful he is, or like he shows it, but I feel very mixed about him as a person. So I don't know. But then maybe if he wouldn't survive the attack, it wouldn't matter as much to me as if Hawthorne or Cadence or
You've thought that one through.
Yeah. It's just my brain going along with it. What would you guys do?
Ooh.
I don't know. Let's go.
Are we going in order, or are we just
Whatever
go for
you.
it.
We can do. Yeah.
I know my answer. I actually would choose Fenestra. I feel like
Wow.
Fen. Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, like Fen 100%. It would be like I knew she would have my back, and Fen is like ruthless as like a defender, and like just she has so much complexity that you learn about even in this book, and like what she is doing, like outside of just like chilling at the hotel. That I would definitely choose Fenestra. Like even if she wouldn't win, I know that she would be part of like she would have my back the entire time. So
Okay, wait.
Ooh.
For one moment, I thought Fenestra was dead in that courage court scene.
Yes.
the
I was like,
the
wait.
claw,
Because they were like, all of a sudden, in the book it was like crack, and then I was like, oh my god, did her neck just break? Like something like I was like, oh my god, no, I'm not ready for that to happen.
Same. Like, I want to be heartbroken because I don't think a lot of our favorite characters are going to survive the entire series. I mean, I don't want to be morbid about that, but like, if it's going to go in the way of like this series growing up with the characters, I don't think, because I feel like we're building up to something as well. You know, I will get to the question, but like with you saying about that about Fenestra, I feel like when that moment does happen when one of our beloved characters does go, I'm going to cry. I will seriously cry because I was so close to crying during that. I didn't believe it at first because I was like, no, there's no way. And like I was proven right, but I do think that we're going to end up doing that. So, but anyway, sorry. Yeah, that's quite a
you felt
physical
lucky to
reaction.
be proven right. You weren't sure.
Yeah. I'm definitely not 100% sure, but I'm so the relief was incredible. But while Jade is like, you know, has Fenestra, I want to run off with Jupiter while she's distracted. Just saying. I'm kidding. While I probably would choose like Jupiter, but maybe Cadence. Like if I couldn't pick one of your characters, if I had to pick my own, I would probably pick Cadence because I would want somebody who I'm a little bit scared of by my side, and I'm a little bit scared of her. Like even in the first book, like when we first met her, I didn't like her to begin with. She did some things that I was like, no, that's not nice. But she became a character who I think has so much internal strength and I related to more. And I feel like I could trust her now. And when there's a character who gives me that feeling where I'm a little bit worried about like what they would do, or like I'm a little bit scared of them, then they're the kind of people who should be on your team. Just I guess because we're just two totally different people. So it would be nice to have like a little battle with just to see who would, because we'd probably have two different kind of corners, and I just think it would be really interesting. So I would probably pick Cadence, just to be different.
I was thinking of Cadence as well because I was trying to think of ways I could avoid this fight, and I was like, Cadence can make them forget that they wanted to fight me. But the only thing is, it doesn't work on a group of people. So I'm now wondering if I choose Lambeth so that we can just see the fight coming and avoid it entirely is another way.
Ooh,
maybe.
That's sneaky. I like it.
Very true. But sometimes I do feel like lambs. Oh, sorry. I sometimes cannot pronounce things. Lambs. For seeing the future thing, like sometimes you can prevent things from happening, but sometimes I feel like her visions are just things that are gonna happen no matter what.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong with that, so I don't know.
And knowing
I feel like
them doesn't lead away from them. It can just let you know it's happening.
And sometimes she doesn't see it coming at all. I think there was a moment where she didn't see something coming.
Yeah. I believe it like ended up being a problem because it was like, why didn't you see this? And it was like a pressure. If I remember correctly.
Could be. And yes, maybe this one would be true. If Morgan can control her power, she would be a fantastic protector. Oh, I thought too, though. Yes, I think so too. Yeah, but I have a feeling that in the next books, her powers will grow and grow and grow. And I'm very curious to see that too. Jupiter for me, please. Yeah, Jupiter is also, he seems very powerful. But because he has been so much like out and in and out of the picture, it's just like, what can he do? Like, show us more. I feel like he can do so much more than we are being shown right now. I mean, Hawthorne could literally fly to your rescue.
He's a little unpredictable. It's true, but he's also a little bit unpredictable. I don't know if I would be able to trust him entirely in a fight, but I agree with that. He would be able to fly to my rescue and fly us off. So I don't know.
I usually come like 10 minutes late. Like I have Hawthorne energy, and I just know I'd be like, "I'm here to save you," and everyone's like, "It's over."
Oh well.
Oh well, next question. That's a good like follow-up. If you had to name your dragon, what would you call them? But this one is Olivia came up with this question when we were FaceTiming, and then I was like, oh, now that I know it, I can give it some good thought because most of the names are really long, and then I just didn't think about it. So I still what would it be?
What would it be? They do have like random names as well, don't they? Like really
very random
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good question. I just
I feel like you already have an answer, but you don't dare to say it.
I mean, maybe.
What would I name a dragon?
I honestly am so bad with like making up things on the spot.
Yeah.
I've been like, I'm gonna call it dabbling because that's what I'm going with. I've been writing some things down. I've been writing, and I actually had a dragon in a book, and I gave it like just like a substitute name that I ended up really liking. It was Drum. So I guess I'm gonna just name my dragon Drum because I've already done that before. And it's not a very clever or unique or fun name, but it's the one that I have on hand.
I love it.
The sound it makes when right before the fire comes out. So I'm going with Drum.
I love that.
Thanks, Gavin.
One, I mean, at least you've got an answer. Two, it's just such a nice sounding name.
The standard is she has an answer.
I just think to like make up like 2-sentence long names, and it's just overwhelming. If I would have to like fit my personality into such a name, it would be like drinks tea and sits in a corner.
Yeah,
that would be my name. But besides that, I just no.
Sorry,
I'm not very heroic or something. But
I feel like "sorry I'm late" would be another. I feel like I say that all the time. Either "sorry I'm late" or "sorry I didn't answer this message. I'm back now." So that's what I got.
I also don't. The names are too long to remember. I feel like.
Yeah, they are. Sorry, I was going to say probably like daiquiris, maybe just daiquiri. I think there is like a longer version of that I'm not going to say because this is a Hollowpox innocent middle grade discussion. But maybe daiquiris.
I feel like daiquiri and rum is like a party, like daiquiri and rum hanging out.
Oh my gosh, yes, and we've got the alliteration going as well. Oh,
exactly. That's
perfection.
To anything is alliteration. It is a party.
Exactly, I love it.
And you, Olivia, do you have a name?
I've got this song "I'm Walking on Sunshine" in my head, so I'm trying to make it something like fire, like I'm walking on fire coals. I don't know. Fire.
I'm walking on fire. The D and her long name made me laugh so much. I don't even remember her whole name, but I liked it as well. But wait, maybe sure I got you. I'll do it. That's also a good name. Let's go on to the next question. If you could make a ghostly hour for one historic event, which would you choose?
Oh, that's another really good question.
I thought about this one.
What?
You go ahead, Olivia.
I thought about this one because she's like learning things that she doesn't know, and I was like, I would just love to see the pyramids of Egypt and how they built them, and I'd really want to know.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's a good one. Oh my god, you put a lot of thought into that.
And Egypt as well is such a beautiful place, and learning about ancient Egypt is, oh my gosh. Oh, I would agree with that. So I'll not take your answer or anything, but that is a good one. I would probably, because I love learning about the Titanic, I don't know, like while it's getting built, I might see how that was happening in all of that, maybe, because it was such a beautiful ship, and I would love to see it with my own eyes. So maybe going back to 1912, and even not even just to see the Titanic, but just to see how society was back then as well. I'm just really intrigued by the fashion, the high society. I would definitely be a poor person just like working at the shipyard or something. I definitely wouldn't be, Downton Abbey or anything, but I definitely would love to see that side of history as well, I think. Yeah.
So the building of the Titanic or all of the Titanic?
Can it be when they put in the final nail?
Leonardo DiCaprio. I need to.
Oh god, yes. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go back to 1996 when they filmed Titanic, or was it 1995 when they filmed it? And then meet like Leonardo DiCaprio, and like when Kate Winslet is about to do her audition, I want to put on a wig. I want to put on Kate Winslet's dress and pretend to be Kate Winslet, and then I will act in Titanic alongside Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah,
that version would have been so much better. I don't know why.
So much better. Oh my god, so much better.
My brother named his cat Leonardo DiCaprio.
And he's I love that.
Yeah, we have like pictures all throughout the house where it's like Leonardo DiCaprio's hair, but like it's on a wig, like photoshopped on our cat. So like I'm looking around the room and I'm like, oh god.
That's hilarious. I love that. Yeah. I'm stealing that name from my next cat. I'm stealing that name.
Go for it. I think he'd be proud. He's a Leo, so he just wants to spread. I think I'm gonna go with. So I'm gonna go with probably. I'm trying to decide a moment in this, but I think I want to go with something in Arthurian legend, because so much of it is like based in history, but also mythology, and to have a moment where I could actually see some of the things that took place that either inspired the history or proves that it happened would be really amazing. Like there's some different battles and things like that, and people where I would want to see like, was there an actual King Arthur? How crappy was he? How much did we prop this dude up? Or things like that, or like battle with Lancelot or something like that. So I'd probably take one of those many different scenes and watch them play out, because I really like Arthurian legend.
Cool. I could not really think of anything except for when like Olivia said like building pyramids in Egypt, and then I was like building something, and then I thought the Big Bang. How cool! If you could like see that moment of like when Earth was like suddenly created, like how do they say that?
Wouldn't that be dangerous though? Like it's like
looking behind, or if you look at a very big distance. Yeah, looking over Earth. I just want to be like see it all happen. I don't know why, but
it's interesting.
Yes, I'd be like somewhere in there's a particle that's me right now as well. Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm saying. Also, someone said, do you remember Frank's perfume? Whims and Bida films are for hymns. Oh yeah, that was just I just love that too. Oh,
same.
Sometimes like those things, I look forward to reading so many more middle grade books because having read Nevermore, because of all those like funny little jokes. Like I've had a couple of times where I was just like laughing out loud, and I rarely have that with books, so I love that about that.
No, I agree, and it was really funny because I listened to the audiobook for the reread. I didn't the first time I read it, but I did on the reread, and just like Gemma Whelan's performance of it, she can really get the humor so right. Just I guess with a lot of the interactions, and I remember the moment with the whimsy by the flimsy, like it's kind of a bit of a tongue twister, but like she does it like so flawlessly, and it's just like I don't know why, but it cracked me up just because she was like so good at doing it, and it just sounded it just like rolls, and it was so funny. I love it. I love moments like that.
Yes, true. It's very, very nice. Then we have the last fun question, and then we go on to discussion questions. So the last one that we have is, if you could visit the library and pull one thing from a book, what would you choose?
Oh.
Savannah.
These questions, how do you come up with that? A mastermind.
Read this book twice and I'm like, I don't know.
I was very tempted to make like, who would you pull out? Because I could answer that really easily. But
Who would you pull out then?
it would be Adam Parrish from the Raven Cycle. Very surprising.
Yeah, nobody's surprised.
So what would you pull out? What would you pull out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe like a magical thing from the book would be cool, but I don't know what I would do. What I would pull out.
Yeah.
If I was hungry, I would pull out food from With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo.
Oh. Yes! Oh my god. True. I really want to make that tembleque. That like coconut pudding that she had at the front of the book. Like I want to make that. Oh, so bad.
That would be amazing.
Yes. I think it would be
Olivia
nice,
wants that food.
I haven't eaten dinner yet. I've got food on my mind.
Your stomach in the back.
And I was like, if you were hungry, or
are you? Oh, someone said they would pull out Jupiter. That would be for you.
I was thinking the exact same thing, but I was like, I don't want to seem like thirsty on a middle grade. But I mean, if I was going to pull something out, I'm already there. It'd probably be Jupiter North. Like, let's just get this over with.
And true, I also loved the library chapter so much.
Same, it was very exciting. Can I pull out an ability?
Sure, why not?
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, because I have all the Charmed books, and I would absolutely love to pull out the ability to freeze time. So if I could pull like some kind of magic out of a book, then I would like to pull out somebody's ability. And I'm sure like the knack as well of freezing time, I would like to pull that out and keep that.
Yeah.
I was reading something really terrifying about that power, actually, because I've wanted that power. Like, I've oscillated between that and mind reading my entire life, depending on if I want to be, like, a spy or a thief. And, like, I found out you would lose all light, sound, and, like, hearing if you freeze time, like, even if you could control it, unless you had the particles around you. And I was just like, okay, let's calm down.
Yeah, that's scary now. Actually, that's quite scary.
Yeah, and they're like, and you wouldn't be able to shut it off because unless you like created something where it's just barely around you, in which case you would age at a faster rate because time would like absorb into you. I was like, this is just.
Okay, I'm putting that power back. I'm putting that power back now.
You have thought
I
this
literally just
through.
read about it yesterday, and I'm really, really sorry.
No, I'll have telekinesis now instead. Okay.
Cool. Neat.
I find this question too difficult. I am so bad at like coming up with an answer on the spot. It's really bad. Like, pulling out a thing from a book. Okay, so you said a character, right, Olivia? You said Adam.
And food.
And food. Yeah, maybe that's like the best thing when you're reading a book and it all sounds just so delicious. You want like to have it right on the spot and you can't. It's disappointing. So
yeah,
it's a good choice though. Those were all the like fun questions that we had for right now. Now we'll just go on to like some discussion points about like things that happen in the book, themes, plot points, characters, whatever basically. So one very important theme, do you call that like hefty? Just like a heavy, difficult theme that was discussed and talked about throughout the book is like the Wunimals and the disease, and then like how it all ties to slavery. I have it down because of Olivia. Slavery, generational difference of generational difference of opinions, animalistic nature, discrimination, and racism. Because that was like, I feel the biggest line throughout the book, the biggest kind of like plot point, discussion point, and you see that in like all of the Nevermore books, is that there are really important topics being dealt with, such as like migration and immigrants in the past couple of books, with like Morgan not being allowed in the Free State, and like she doesn't belong here and stuff like that. And with the virus and the angst and the anxiety, you see like very big ties and like connections to racism and discrimination and stuff like that. So what did you guys think of that, and how that was in the book, and how did it make you feel?
I think Jessica Townsend did such a phenomenal job with doing like a storyline. Yeah, like it's always been about being other. So like any kind of book, especially middle grade, when it deals with fantasy and it deals with people who have special abilities or are different to anybody else, I always see it as rather like didactic and just a little bit more like there's a lesson to be learned about how we treat other people. So like when we are faced with somebody who is different, whether it's based on ability or, you know, as I do agree. I feel like a lot of the stuff that Jessica Townsend did in this book, especially with how I think, did you say it's only been a decade since Wunimals were given like rights and Wunimals were like treated fairly and things? So it had only been a decade, and that shocked Morgan, and she was like, really? Like this has actually happened? So I feel like Jessica did such a good job with kind of putting together this almost middle grade book. I don't know if they want to be too didactic because we're just like putting like words in her mouth. Like maybe she wasn't trying to be as didactic as she was, but I feel like it's such a huge and prominent thing in this book is that the divide between Wunimals and people who, like, I think it was the scene on the train when I think it was the first Wunimal who turned and got the Hollowpox, and then there was the old ladies, and they were like, "Ew, get off this train!" And you know, like they were like being really awful to the Wunimal, and that is just like, even though you know they're saying, "Oh, it's been a decade since Wunimals were treated more fairly," has anything really changed? So I feel like it was really important for that scene in particular that they are still kind of looked down on, and they are still not like treated equally, because there's always that thing with the other Nevermorians where they are kind of like they don't want change, and it's very prominent as well in Cadence's patron as well. Like he is very adamant about the divide between Wunimals and the other, you know, the greater Nevermorian population. So I mean, I can't even remember what the question was anymore because I've just kind of went off on a tangent. But I felt like it was like a really interesting and important part of it, and I feel like a lot of people now can definitely still take so much from it. I probably have a lot more to say about that, but I kind of lost my train of thought.
It was just about like your general feelings, so I don't feel like you.
Well, I do feel like she. Well, yeah, I do feel like she did like such a good job with that. So yeah, I definitely think it was like a huge and important part of this story. Because I sometimes forget these books are middle grade and they are for a younger audience sometimes. But it has a theme that I think adults, children, young adults, grandparents can still learn from. So, and I do feel like it was a pretty obvious, at least to me, it felt an obvious didactic thing.
And I feel like also you mentioned that it's been 10 years since they were given rights. And I just feel like the foreshadowing was done very well, because if you look at the first book, Morrigan, I forget where she's from, but where she's from, Wunimals exist, and she sees them enslaved as like carriage drivers, and she's like, "Oh, those are Wunimals," and it's really horrible that happens. And then in the second book, when she first discovers the ghastly market or the ghostly market, it's animals that she sees being sold and not, you know, people with knacks. So I think it's woven in how Wunimals are looked down on so well in the first few books, and then it brings it to the forefront in Hollowpox, and I was like, wow, she really fought through this.
See, I didn't get to reread Never, because I was going to do this Wonderlong. Now I put it on my TBR every single month. I mean, you guys probably saw every month I put it on a TBR. I want to read Nevermore this month. I want to read Wondersmith this month, and I just never got around to rereading them. So little details like that I totally forgot about. So that's actually really interesting that it was something that she built towards, because I haven't read the first two since 2019, I think. So yeah, that's kind of lost our mind, but that's really interesting.
I haven't actively thought about the first 2 books. I'll get back around to the question, but because I listen to them actually to go to sleep. They're like calming, soothing things that I'll do to go to sleep is I'll listen through them. So I have like random chapters in my head, and there is so much foreshadowing that you see in the other ones. Like there are things now that I wouldn't be able to pull out because they're just facts about the world that build upon themselves. And it just becomes like knowledge where like you read through Nevermore the second time through and you're like, oh, of course, because this, but you don't learn about it until later. But it just really does a really great job of that. And I completely agree with Olivia that there was excellent foreshadowing in this topic coming up. It's part of the reason, like when I was first reading the book, I knew that she definitely wasn't like writing about the pandemic or like Black Lives Matter or anything from a place of like inspiration of what was happening at that moment. You could tell that she had already come up with this concept. And while taking from real life moments, wasn't taking from like 2020 moments. That, yeah, she just has, it seems like she has a really good grasp on like human, well, honestly, just sociology in general and like human interactions and human development. I can always find that the way people react in her books are really similar and realistic to how people react in real life, and you can mirror it against people. You can see that characters in real people in your day-to-day life, in conversations. You can find people like Fenestra. You can find people that are like Jupiter. You can find like these different types of people like Cadence and even Thadia, and like these different characters. You're going to come in contact with them, and having some sort of basis of how to interact with that in a middle grade, I think is really useful because the world is so overwhelming, and having a safe basis, a safe place to like gather that information, like the world of Nevermore, and then being able to like incorporate it into your real life when everything's so overwhelming, I think it's just really useful. Fenestra says at one point, like, she has like, it's a, you can't ignore bigots because like, I think I have it written down somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, we don't ignore bigotry, Jack. That's how cowardly bigots turn into brave bigots. And like having Fenestra say it, and like being like, no, we're not doing this. Like this is ending now. And like that whole scene and everything, I think is really easily applied to a real life situation that would definitely come up. And it allows children and young adults and like just people in general to have a model of like, everyone loves Fenestra, and here's Fenestra doing something, and you can like stand behind it because Fenestra is a strong character, So
I definitely agree. Yeah, I think as well, because Jessica Townsend is queer as well. I think it has a lot to do with like LGBTQ plus as well. So like even just using the word bigot, it can encompass like so many different people who are against like human rights, fundamental rights for a lot of people, and the kind of hate that is just so prominent in the world. And it's really interesting as well because even though there is that like pandemic future of this book, obviously like Jessica didn't she didn't know that was going to happen, but that we know of. But like it's kind of, I felt like this book was a way of almost like overcoming it, like having strong people around you, having the friends around you, and realizing and recognizing bigotry when you see it in front of you is kind of like a way forward. So I feel like with the pandemic part of it, it felt for me, even though I think I read it in like September, I think it was, and obviously like things were still happening, but it was almost like a comfort, like a hopeful message that it isn't just like a dark time. It isn't just a bleak way of the world. And it's just like, as long as you have some kind of power inside you, then you can overcome that and the support system around you. But yeah, I also think the same, Jade. Yeah.
And branching a bit off of what Jade said about Fenestra, even just taking that scene and looking at the progression of Fen's reaction, like at first she was really calm and she was just trying to talk it out, and then at some point she was just like so fed up she just moved into action, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is so realistic. Like that's really how it goes.
It really was. And those scenes like on the train, in the hotel, when all those people make those comments, it's just yeah, it's really sad to read about. And also someone commented, it's interesting that the police are called the Stink. We definitely saw that. Okay.
Interesting and I believe intentional.
I think so too. Shall I move on to the next question, or does anyone else have to add something to it?
I feel like maybe this is probably going to branch to another question,
Mhm.
but when I read what the Hollowpox was like, I was so horrified. Like the idea of losing identity, and then
Oh my God.
later on when Ezra's like, they're still there, but they just can't do anything. I was like, that is the most horrible situation.
Yeah.
Because like were they still kind of like there probably were still conscious somewhere in the back of their minds, but then like witnessing everything from, you know,
It's
do you know what I mean?
It's an adult movie, but it did remind me of Get Out.
Oh.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Okay. It's a really good movie for an adult, just in case.
Not for kids.
For middle grade audience.
For adults. It kind of has something really similar to like the hollowing out of and there's a repossession in it. There's a possession aspect without giving anything away in the movie. That's important, but the person is still consciously there and not in control of themselves. So it's
I actually rewatched it while I was reading Hollowpox. And I didn't make the connection.
No? Okay, well, I'm gonna be off on it. It was like one of those things where when I was rereading it, I had watched it like a while ago and I was like, that's kind of like I had a hot second when I was reading the line where she's like, see, you can see the spark with them in them and you can see like they're singing out. And I was like, yeah, something in that scene made me think of her. So
I have something to look forward to watching then.
You do actually. It is a fantastic film.
I think it's a really good. I mean, it's a good movie.
Really good.
It's like it just depends on.
Okay.
I think it's R. So.
Okay.
It is really horrifying though, that isn't it? Like the way that the Hollowpox can like really, it does like hollow people out. But I feel like that in itself was a way of, you know, for Morgan at the end when she makes the decisions that she does, like it had to be really horrific for her to have to give up so much, like to not exactly like I can kind of talk about the ending, can't I? Because it is spoilery. But kind of like her like signing the apprenticeship, like being like Ezra's apprentice, like it had to. Something really terrible will have had to have happened for Morgan to do something like that, and it really just showed that Morgan will do anything to restore people who have been affected by it. And she got a taste of that when Ezra was in the hospital. So yeah, it had like the gravitas of the Hollowpox and what it's doing to people. I feel like it had to be that bad for the next stage, which I feel like this is going to be like a totally different arc now going into the future. Like there's going to be a whole different direction, and it had to be that bad for us to go in that direction.
I wanted to just jump on that because that I had actually marked that page when he first says like, if you're my apprentice, I'll do it. Because she hops out of bed, she goes, fine, yeah, I'll do it. Squall hasn't even like comprehended that she, after 2 books full of him just like going on these elaborate schemes, going out of his way, like terrifying her, like terrorizing her, chasing her, threatening her. And then like she's just sitting in the hospital bed and he's like, I'll do it if you do this. And she's like, yeah, fine, whatever, let's go. And then like just gets out of the bed and starts walking. He's like, what? Like, come on, hurry up. We gotta like chop. We gotta go fix this. And it's just really like, I think in how quickly and unclimactic that scene is. The signing part is more climactic, but she agreed to it without like a thought because it was in protecting people. And you can get caught up in like the fact that she's very unsure. She can be pessimistic. Sometimes she's untrusting, and that all makes sense with her upbringing. At who she is at her core is someone who does not hesitate. The scene was completely anticlimactic because there was not a hesitation in that. If she thought that was the only way to do it, then she went ahead and just did it because she couldn't she could not allow for that to be. So, yeah.
Great.
To play the devil's advocate a little bit, I just find it very interesting that she makes that decision only when it happens to Sophia, because I feel like it shows a pattern of kind of what happened with the pandemic, where if people you knew weren't affected, you weren't taking it as seriously. And I'm not going to say Morgan wasn't taking it seriously, because, you know, she's been worrying about all of these people, and she's definitely been thinking about it and having it on her mind. But when it comes to Sophia and to like Sub-9 and all the familiarity and comfort that she has, and then that's completely been taken away, like that is the moment when she's like, okay, now I need to like stop relying on other people. I need to do something myself. And I just found it very interesting that that was the line that was drawn. Especially when, you know, I think at the moment she also mentions the Jaguar, who is a friend of Dan Chandra. And that was the first one, but it still wasn't close enough to make that connection for Morgan until it was like Sophia, who she knew herself.
Would you say that it was the building of the different characters and how close she was to them, or how much she knew about the Hollowpox and the situation? Because she didn't know that Squall had created the Hollowpox at that point, or really could fix it. And she was also being told by the adults around her that were supposed to be the people she trusted. She's not supposed to trust or even think Squall is capable of curing or causing or doing any good. She's not even sure if she's capable of doing any good. And all the people that she trusts most, Jupiter North is continuously telling her, love him, but he's absurdly optimistic and kept on saying, oh, she's really close to a cure. Oh, a cure is coming soon. Doing all of these reassurances, giving her all of this pillow that you're a child. You don't have to do this. You don't have to figure it out. It can be okay. And it wasn't until she was let down by every single person that she realized she needed to do it herself. And then she went to Squall. And then she was able to realize like that she was the only one that was going to do this. And that's when I put that as a question and then answered it. In there, and then I was like, or do we think this? Because that's what I think.
I mean, of course I feel like that has to play into it though, of course. Like she slowly sees these fabrications of reassurances disappear. But I also feel like the stakes on, you know, finding a cure just goes up so much higher when it's someone you really care about, which I also think plays into it. I feel like it cannot be a black and white answer. I feel like it will be a mix of both of those things. But yeah, that is a very true point. Like as soon as it becomes more serious, and I think that's again what happened with the pandemic, lots of people didn't care in the beginning, and the more serious it got, the more people stepped up to the
if it hadn't have been global, it might have been really different in like collaboration wise too. So like,
very true.
It's definitely has an air of like, how closely connected are you?
True. I was thinking of one question that I see here in the Google Docs that's kind of like playing a little bit into this. But I know that Olivia didn't enjoy this book as much as the other ones because it felt a little too dark. Am I saying that correctly, Olivia? Like, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Okay. I feel like here come all my negative opinions.
No, like it's not negative, it's critique, and we want
critique.
You're okay.
So I want to first clarify two things. I'm not saying that middle grade cannot be dark, because middle grade can be dark, and children can handle darkness in books. I've read some middle grade that is like way sadder than adult fiction. But what I liked about Wondersmith, so for Nevermore, I thought it was too whimsical, too joyful, and I was like, I just need more like depth. And then we got to Wondersmith, and I was like, wow, it's balanced the lightness and darkness so well. We've got the seriousness of like the market and the trafficking, but then they go to the bazaar and they have these like really fun moments too. And I was like, wow, that was balanced so well. But with Hollowpox, it just was so overwhelmingly serious and dark. And I think the subject matter does demand that. But other than the very beginning, I was like, this is just darkness after darkness after darkness. And it was like too much for me. And it just took away from my enjoyment, because while I like the idea that Nevermore is not perfect, I don't know, it lost some of its whimsy for me personally.
I would agree with that statement as well. Like not like to that extent, because I still absolutely bloody love this book, and like honestly, I love it so much. No, I agree. It definitely lost some of its, like, I think I mentioned that at the start. Like, it doesn't feel as whimsical as the first couple, but of course, yeah, like the series is kind of growing up a bit, and I do feel like we are building towards something. There's a lot of suspense and foreshadowing. But no, I think you're right. There's like less, I guess, moments from like say the first two. There was like a lot of really positive and uplifting moments. In this book, there is like a lot more seriousness and a lot more darkness. I'm trying to remember because a lot of it is, I feel like the plot is Morgan is trying to figure out more about herself and about being a wondersmith. And for the longest time, she's been told that being a wondersmith is the worst thing that you could possibly be, especially by, what was the tortoise one called again? Oswald?
Yeah,
Oswald?
Oswald. Yeah,
Oswald, yeah.
Oswald. I
Yes.
don't know is that his first name?
I
think it
can't
was,
remember
but I'm
now.
not too
I
sure.
just know he's a tortoise. I just know he's a
Yeah.
tortoise one. But so like we had coming to this one, we had Morgan. Like she's like so unsure of herself. She needs to discover herself. So I feel like a lot of this book was mainly about Morgan discovering about her powers and unlearning all of the negative stuff that she was taught in the previous book. And so like what I loved about this one is that we saw more of the world. But like you know the oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but the School of Arcane Arts, or you know the
Mundane?
mundane,
Mundane.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she starts to like go through like the ghostly hours and learning so much more about that. And I felt this one was just a more of a learning kind of book for Morgan as a character and what her powers are. And because of that, it felt a bit more serious. But also, you do have the backdrop of the Hollowpox and that how that's affecting it. I am a huge fan of dark, like really dark middle grade. So I loved the suspense of it from the start because when we had the first attack, we had no idea what was going on, and Morrigan didn't know what was going on. And then you had going through like just like this kind of rise in tension as Morgan's trying to say, oh look, like I'm seeing like the green eyes and like this is what I'm seeing, and people aren't believing her again. And it's just like we had that. I feel like this rise in the story to be a lot more serious, and maybe Jessica wanted to explore more themes in that regard. But I just felt like this one, it was different because it's Morgan mainly learning about herself, and what she is probably a lot darker than what she realized, because being a Wondersmith is powerful, it's dangerous, it's scary, and that is probably why I don't know what my point was anymore, but I just think it just had this undercurrent of darkness, and I do agree, Olivia, it didn't feel as whimsical as the first one. This was just like an expansion of the world, an expansion of Morrigan, I think, is probably how I would best summarize it for me.
Yeah. I think Olivia and I, especially in the first book, we agreed that we felt like the world building was a little bit lackluster, and that it felt like we needed a bit more explanation. And I do feel like in the second, and especially, yeah, also maybe the third, we got a lot more information, and you kind of are familiar with how the world works a bit right now. And that is what I really did enjoy. But maybe in the other two books, you have more moments of pure bliss, if I can like call it like that. Like the bazaar was just so amazing, and then like meeting the hotel and seeing all those different rooms. And what I also missed a bit maybe in this book was what you saw in Wondersmith, is that the people in unit 919 really get to have that sense of bonding. And because Morgan is alone a lot of the times in this book, actually, especially with like the ghostly hours, I missed that sense of like companionship and connection that really started happening in the second book. I don't know if any of you guys missed that a little bit too, or
I thought from where we ended off in the second book, we were going to see more of it in the third book. I know that Morgan has a lot of developing to do individually, but I thought they'd kind of overcome a little bit of the individual nature, and they were more going to work together as a unit. And I feel like it became a bit more fractured. Like you would have Morgan and Anna having a discussion, and then like Morgan and Cadence and Hawthorne, who are like a unit, like the core unit. And it didn't feel as grouped as I thought it was going to feel. But I also liked this one a bit more in terms of the character groups, because I think in the second one I was like, where's Ben and Jupiter? Like I didn't see enough of the hotel in the second one. So they did bring that in more. And I guess with so many characters, it is hard to find that balance.
I feel like I think that this book 3, in what I believe is 9, is going to feel really important and pivotal moving forward, and that it's not going to be my favorite, like, going through, but I think it'll be like, because these things happened, because of all of these events, we were able to have this. At the end of this book, Cadence and Hawthorne, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the two of them, were like, hey, so you've been kind of like gone this book. They make the complaint that there hasn't been much connection. And Morgan's like, yeah, I've been down there the whole time and I'm sorry about it. And then she's like, we could like sneak you down there. And it kind of like sets it up for like, she believed that she was seeing a lot of parallels between her and Squall, and I think that there was a natural divide between, she was othering herself, and in that moment when she's like, oh, there is a difference between Squall and I, and that's because I have friends. My friends broke into my room, and like, even though we've been disconnected, even though I've been completely distanced from them, they still came. I think that leading into new books going forward, we'll be able to see that because there's been something less superficial about their friendship moving forward. Book 1, I wasn't even completely sold on Hawthorne. I was like, yeah, this is all cute and fun and this is great. I feel really happy and uplifted now. But I also probably, like, if it had continued on that way, I probably would have pittered off because I would have been like, these are just fun, nice things that I'll probably read to my kids. But instead, like, the next book in, which now that I'm thinking about is probably my favorite. You see like a different progression, and then in this one there's a large like divide of like, hey, all these other things, they're about to change. Like, things need to either like get in line and move forward, or it's not going to be that way anymore. And her friends seem to be something that pulled through. Her relationship with Jupiter, I think, also pulled through because in a moment she was like, hey, no more, what is not bullcrap? I don't know. How do you not? What is the non-cuss word? No more poop. I don't know.
That's good. That's it.
She's like, I need to know if there's going to be a cure. And he's like, sits on hands. And she's just like, Jupiter. Like, and he's like, fine. They really were working on it, but he has to like be less of an adult in that moment and like level with her. And you see, like, because he's honest with her, not out of protection or anything like that, but because they've decided to be honest with each other and moving forward, and that's what she needs. And so they can progress on in the other books because things are a little less light and happy and Jupiter whimsical. He's not just placing her in that little ball and being like, everything's fine, everything's safe. Instead, it's like, they're progressing.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, you go, Olivia. Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, because we want to keep these, like, live shows around an hour, that we would, like, slowly talk about, like, our predictions and stuff like that, because but I don't know if you want to, like, say something else, Olivia, before we would go into that.
I guess it links to predictions, because I was going to say, Jade's been saying how this book is very pivotal, and I think it is, and I think the reason why I liked it the least is because I felt like the setup from Nevermore and Wondersmith were leading me towards expecting something different from the series. Just generally, like, I do like dark books, but I was expecting more lightness in with the darkness. And because I was expecting that, this one fell short because I had those expectations. But I think with this book, I'm definitely going to be switching my expectations for the next ones to be darker, especially with how they ended with villain's situation. So I feel like now I've got more of a clearer idea of where the series is going to go in the future with so many books. So I'll be able to enjoy it more. I'm just predicting that darkness is going to be the strongest
force.
Maybe
on. Yeah. Yes, because now I wanted to say, let's go on to like a little bit of like our predictions for book 4, maybe also especially regarding Ezra Squall, because what's the deal with that guy, you know? What's going to happen in the other books? I have honestly no clue plot-wise what's going to happen in the books, but I know, like, is there a release date? 2021 I saw on Goodreads today, but I don't know.
I don't know either as well, and I'm just like, I'm trying to, because I really want to, like, I'm not saying like I'm putting this out in the universe because I want to manifest it, but I really want to do an interview with Jessica Townsend like in June when the paperback comes out for Hollowpox. Like I really want that to happen. But like obviously time zones and stuff and like availability because she's so busy working on book 4. I maybe 2022 for book 4. I don't know because obviously all the delays for book 3. But 9 books though. 9 books is a lot, and like you don't want too much of a wait between them. And I know like she wouldn't either. So it's like, what, like I don't know, but like even then, we're only 3 books in. This is only what, a third of the series. I have no idea what to expect next. Like I genuinely have no idea because we do have Morgan almost like signing her soul away now. Not well. I mean, I say that I feel, you know what? I feel like Ezra might be a little bit misunderstood because we are having to unlearn some of the things that Wondersmiths have done in the past. I feel like there's going to be so much more, and I feel like book 4 is going to be all about Ezra and like learning more about him. And might go. I mean, we did get bits of it actually in the ghostly hours and things. Like we do see little hints of it there, but I genuinely feel like in book 4 we're going to get like so much more backstory on Ezra. I feel like Morgan's going to end up becoming like a really good ally to him. I don't know what's going to happen plot wise, but I feel like there's going to be a moment where the two of them are going to be confronted with something where either Morgan's going to have to save him or the other way around. Maybe if Ezra saves Morgan, there's going to be a whole change to that dynamic. I don't know. And also feel like Jupiter's going to be so territorial as well of Morgan. Like, you can't, Ezra, you know, like, no, like I'm the only father figure in her life kind of thing. So I feel like there might be a fight between Jupiter and Ezra, maybe like a physical fight. You know, like Bridget Jones's Diary, you know, in Bridget Jones's Diary when they're all like fighting over Bridget. And it's just like, yes, that's what's going to happen.
That would be a good prediction. Oh my god. Do you, Jade, Olivia, do you guys have a prediction?
I'm trying to not picture Ezra and
It'd be funny.
Ooh, maybe she will get like new Wondersmith powers, like for her fingerprints, you know? Like we just saw with the little flame.
I think I actually tried to pay more attention to what was on the contract, and there was a pilgrimage, I believe, is what it had listed. A couple other things that I can't remember because I did it's all packed, but yeah, I think that we're definitely going to see in this next book some more of the different things she needs to do, because Squall is so frustrated with like her potential and how it is being like slowly built up. He's like, I feel like it's going to be like training wheels off when he's like, what do you do with a bear? And she's like, run. And he's like, no, sweetie, make yourself bigger. I think we're going to get more of that. I actually really like their pupil like instructor chemistry. I don't necessarily like, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I dig Squall, he's great. That's not how I work, but I do like the chemistry that they have. I think that when they are on page together, there's a lot of potential for both of them to grow, and that we will definitely see that. I also mentioned, I think pre-live show, that Jessica Townsend makes premonitions. She completely was like, yes, a pandemic is coming. Let me with you all. Let's walk through this and how it's going to go. So whatever happens in 2022 will be what.
Let's watch Jessica Townsend.
So look forward.
Good theory.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching with very close eyes what book 4 is going to be about.
Watch the news.
There's going to be an alien invasion or something, isn't there? That's what book 4 is going to be about. And then, lo and behold,
then we'll know.
invaded by aliens.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe we have made a prediction on this live show right now.
Ooh, I love that.
We don't know. Olivia, do you have any thoughts?
I kind of agree with Gavin. I feel like maybe there's something in history that was misunderstood.
Alien
because you've
invasion.
been unlearning so much. And I feel like Morgan's gonna teach Squall some things. I think he's gonna have a lot of development with those interactions. And I definitely think we have not seen the end of Wintersea, President Wintersea. She's coming back.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That scene of her like being introduced and then like Squall coming back saying like, "Don't open the borders." I was like, okay, something must be going on here. So yeah, that would be really
Yeah. Well, Squall saying to not open the borders is alarming, considering
very
everything he's
true.
done. Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Very true. Then I think if maybe some of the viewers have one last question, or maybe if you guys want to discuss something, and then Olivia and I will talk about.
One thing, Miss Cherry. Like that was like my favorite moment at the end.
Yes.
I loved it so much.
Rashani, is that?
Yeah.
I think it's Rashni or yeah.
Oh
yeah.
That
scene in the hospital was really cute, but then also that scene in the library was really devastating.
Yes.
Like when she got attacked.
Yes.
By that ostrich one.
Yes. But it was just it was just so beautiful, and I love. Like, I don't know if you like follow Jessica on Instagram, but like I remember, like I think it was a few months back when somebody made a comment about the Miss Cherry thing, and Jessica was like very defensive about it because like, you know, how dare parents say like this shouldn't be in a middle grade book because, you know, representation. Also, people who are in relationships like women with women or men with men, they exist. You know, it's like we're people too, and like. Just because it's a fantasy and it's for like a middle grade audience doesn't mean that we're not here, you know? So I just honestly, I loved it so much. As soon as I saw it on the page, I was like, yes. And you know what? It doesn't just skirt around it as well. It's like apparent. I know a lot of middle grade books, they do like hint maybe that there's like an LGBTQ plus character maybe.
Mentioned in passing. Like
or like they were holding hands or, you know, but no, this was like full on, you know, and I'm just like, yes.
Relationship.
I think
love it.
I was just going to say, I think I noticed in some of the other books she mentions like, oh yeah, this couple were together, these wives and stuff, and she just casually mentions it, and then Miss Cherry comes in, and I was like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I actually do have a prediction about Jupiter North, and I believe that he's like, I think that he's incredibly queer. I don't know how he's queer. I don't know if he's bi. I don't know if I don't have a chance. All I know is like I'm hoping that right now it like he has other things going on in his life, but I feel like as Morgan gets older, she'll be maybe paying more attention to like, what are you doing with all of your time? Are you always out on adventures? Are you also like casually dating or just chaotically being around
existing?
People? Yeah, just chaotically existing, which is honestly what I hope for. But I'm hoping, I guess I'm hoping that he's like bi, gay, something.
Just not the standard heterosexual.
yeah. I would like him to just not be like a single, like cis bachelor straight dude.
Yeah.
Even if it ruins my chances with him, I just want him to be happy, and I feel like he's queer.
Also, sometimes I get like called out with my own stupid, like, how'd you call that, propaganda in my head, because when it was like nurse, my head, it was a female, of course, and then it was Nurse Tim, and then I was like, of course, like males are also nurses.
I love Nurse Tim. Nurse Tim was one of the people I was like, he's calling him Captain, like, was it Captain Chaotic or Captain Disaster? But I was like, is there chemistry there? Why wasn't this on page? So.
Yeah, but I just like the little things of her pointing out stupid things that we have like stuck in our head, you know? It's just, yeah. So I really also do like that. She's kind of like challenging what society tells us is like the normal. I think that would be like a nice thing to maybe like end this live show on, unless you have something that you still want to talk about, of course.
Nah, I got my Miss Cherry love off my chest.
We just had to have that.
I feel like I got to ramble about things I never get to talk about because not a lot of people read the third in a middle grade in my group of friends and things like that. So I am just, thank you.
Yay! That is so great. Well, I think that one last question that Olivia wrote down is, will there be future live shows when the next books come out? And I think our plan is to like read them when they come out and then like do a live show. I think that's our plan, right?
That's our plan, yeah.
Thumbs up. I love that because otherwise I did not really stick to finishing series. So I'm all here for it.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, I'm the same.
Yes. So we will just have to watch out for when book 4 comes out, and then we will just plan a live show and everything and like buddy read it together, and everyone is welcome. I just want to say thank you so much to Jade and Gavin for joining our little live show tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Yes, of course. I hope you had a nice time. I hope the viewers had a nice time as well. Thank you so much to everyone who stuck around, read the books together with us. I think Olivia and I had a great time. Olivia, do you have anything else to add to that?
Well, I want to say thank you to you for coming up with the idea of a read-along for the series.
That's fine.
It's been so fun to host it with you.
Yes, I had a lot of fun. Just indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I would love a live show too. So we will definitely be doing that. And when the time comes, Olivia and I will discuss it, put it all on our like social media pages and whatever. And that'll be something for the future. Last time I'm going to say it. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to end the broadcast. And everyone who was in the live show today, find them in the description box down below. Okay? Check out their channels. Almost forgot to say that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.